Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sue Dishart, and I am honored to be the Plan Giving Officer for the American Diabetes Association. Diabetes is the leading cause of vision loss, one of the top causes of death, and during this pandemic, people living with diabetes have had increased risk. But there's hope. For the past 80 years, the ADA has been helping people thrive as we search for a cure. But all that work needs donor support. And that brings us to today's dialogue with the ADA topic about charitable gift annuities. Keep in mind, any information shared today is not tax or legal advice, and we recommend that you discuss your personal situations with your own advisors. It's also dated. April 2021 is the date now. If there's any rates that are shared, make sure that you check for new rates if this is seen in another year. We are very fortunate to have Robert Sharpe with us. He's the CEO of Encore, a national consulting firm that advises charitable organizations and institutions, including the American Diabetes Association. He's a frequent speaker and has authored many articles and publications about gift planning techniques. His remarks have been featured in Newsweek, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and Forbes, along with many others. He's a graduate of Vanderbilt University and Cornell Law School. So welcome, Robert.
Well, thank you, Sue. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. As you mentioned, I've had the pleasure of spending my career working with a lot of nonprofits of different sorts and their donors. And I guess my primary role is to help people who are like 90% of Americans support charitable institutions and help them do it in ways that are most effective for them, their needs, and also their desire to make a gift. So oftentimes, especially making larger gifts, it's necessary to think about the donor's needs and the needs of the institution and work to discover ways to balance those and help people make gifts they might not otherwise have thought possible. So as you said, it's important for people, though, to talk with their own advisors, because everybody's situation is different, and what might be a great plan for one person might not work as well for another. So I'm going to be talking about some ideas, but I would encourage people to seek help from their advisors if they're considering something like this. So
let's get on to today's topic. Charitable gift annuities, sometimes called CGAs. There's a lot of language out there. How are rates determined? And what is a personal illustration?
Okay, well, charitable gift annuities are one of the most tried and true, oldest methods of making significant gifts as part of one's financial and estate planning. In fact, there are references to gift annuities going all the way back into the Middle Ages. One example that I think is really interesting, most annuities are relatively small amounts of money, but in the 1840s, there was a farmer in Indiana who there was a small college that needed some land to expand their campus, and he gave them like 200 acres of land in exchange for an annuity each year, and that land became the central campus of Notre Dame back in the 1840s. So there's a lot of uses for this plan, but in effect, what it really is similar to a bequest that someone might do through a will or remainder of life insurance or retirement plan or some other plan, except it's completed during your lifetime in a way that also provides an income that's dependable for the rest of your life, and does not depend and change or fluctuate with interest rates or stock market values. And the payments are backed by all of the assets that are available at the institution. So it's a very popular plan for people who want to make a nice gift, but also needs to maintain income for themselves. The payment rates are based on a number of factors, including the age of the donor or other people who may be receiving payments from the annuity, and a number of other factors. There's an industry association that a panel meets every couple of years and that sets recommended rates, the American Council on Gift Annuities, and they've been doing this for almost 100 years. You mentioned the personal illustration and the fact that everybody's situation does differ, and so charities will, in many cases, be happy to prepare an illustration based on a particular donor's age, what the amount of the annuity, how much, what they want to use to fund it, how often they want to receive their payments, and other factors that determine how that annuity would work for that particular individual.
And I am always happy to provide a personal illustration. So thanks for that information. But besides the 122 million people living with diabetes and prediabetes that will benefit from the philanthropy side of a charitable gift annuity, who are the best types of people that can benefit from using a charitable gift annuity as an estate planning tool?
Well, in my experience, most people who take advantage of this idea are ones who are either retired or they're approaching retirement and they're reviewing their needs for income and their desire to continue their charitable giving and kind of revisiting their whole financial situation as they're beginning to move into the retirement phase of their life. For example, a typical situation might be a 75-year-old person who has $10,000 in a CD and is receiving virtually no income from it, and is wondering, like, what am I going to do here? And in the case of a gift annuity, the rates now provide that person would receive 5.4% fixed payment for the remainder of their lifetime, which would amount to $540 a year. Now, you can add zeros onto the 10,000. I think the minimum for ADA is what, Sue?
It is
10,000.
Yep.
But I've seen these done anywhere from 10,000 to into the millions of dollars. So, but typically, a lot of people will do one of these. They'll do repetitive annuities. They'll do one this year, and then next year they'll do one because the rates are higher each year as the person ages. So, and then at the death of the individual, then whatever funds are left in that annuity fund for that donor's gift will then be used as a gift. Again, it's similar to a bequest through one's estate, except instead of doing it at death, this is an opportunity to transfer some assets during lifetime and receive some benefits. Also, I see couples that frequently take advantage of this opportunity. Now, for example, let's say you have a husband and wife who are partners that are 82 and 78 years old. If they funded an annuity, their rate would be 5.3%, which is a little bit lower, 0.1% lower than the 75-year-old, because there are two of them and the payments will probably go longer. So that has an impact on the payment rate. But both of them will receive payment, both people, regardless of how long either one of them lives. Often other situations are where a person may not need additional income for themselves, but they are helping to take care of a parent or a brother or sister or friend or other loved one. That's increasingly common. You take the case of a 72-year-old woman with a sister who's 80, and the sister has very limited income, and she's been helping her sister by giving her a few $100s a month from her after-tax income. So she has to earn maybe $500 to give her sister $350 after tax, and there's no guarantee that if she passes away before her sister, that her sister will continue to receive those payments. So what she could do, she had just sold a property, the investment property she had, and her share of the proceeds was $60,000. She used that to fund an annuity that would pay her 80-year-old sister 6.5% a year for life, which is $3,900 or $325 a month, which is it's a significant additional amount of money each year to be used to pay utilities or other living expenses. And then when her sister dies, she's provided that any funds remaining then will be used to fund a gift in memory of their mother, who passed away from the complications of diabetes. And similar to if she'd left a bequest in memory of her mother, but this way the funds are doing double duty, if you will, during her lifetime and the lifetime of her sister.
So a charitable gift annuity really does offer a higher rate in some ways, but it really starts with that part of charity that you want to give a remainder to the ADA to begin with. So can you tell us the difference between a commercial annuity and a charitable gift annuity? Some people have had questions about that.
Okay, sure. There are a lot of differences, and many of them are technicalities that are beyond the scope of today. But the main difference is that with the commercial annuity, sometimes you may receive a slightly higher payment with the commercial annuity, and that's basically for a lot of reasons. But the main one is there's no charitable component, and in the case of a commercial annuity, there's no charitable benefit, and at your death, that's it, and whatever's left is not used for purposes that you would like to do as part of your charitable giving. Also, the gift annuity provides a number of really attractive tax benefits that a commercial annuity doesn't provide.
Okay, so I do believe that the best benefit of a charitable gift annuity through the ADA is that legacy of helping people living with diabetes beyond your lifetime.
Right.
But can you talk a little bit more about those tax benefits that are also important?
Right. Well, the term gift annuity has two words, gift and annuity. And because there's a gift portion built into the way the annuity works, you receive an income tax deduction basically for the value of what's anticipated to remain for charity at the end, only instead of going through your estate and you get a deduction if you at death, this accelerates the tax benefits into your lifetime. For example, I looked at an example of an 82-year-old. If they funded a $25,000 gift annuity, their payments would be 7%. But on top of that, over 50%, around $12,600, is a deduction in the year that they make the annuity. So not only are they getting the income, he's getting the income of 7%. He's also, if he's in say a 25-30% marginal tax bracket, he's going to save $3,000 or $4,000 in taxes, which immediately reduces the cost of the annuity and makes the effective rate a little higher. Another interesting thing about the way that charitable gift annuities are structured is that you don't necessarily pay tax on all of the income that you receive. It's not like a tax-exempt bond, but because there's a return on each payment of what's called your investment in the contract. In the case of this 82-year-old, he would only have to report 20% of that income a year in taxes, and 80% of it would be received tax-free for a period of time equal to his life expectancy. Now, if he outlives his life expectancy, he will then have to pay tax on all of it. But in his case, for 8 years or so, he would not have to pay tax on a lot of it, and that, in effect, is another difference with a commercial annuity, because that if not having to pay tax on some of that also, well, it's the same as a gift annuity or a commercial annuity, but it's really increases the effective rate of what you're getting because you're not paying tax on a large portion of it. So there's, and then at death, in most cases, unless you leave an annuity for someone else other than a spouse, then those funds are not going to be in your estate either. So because there's a charitable dimension here, and because as a society we've decided not to tax funds that are ultimately going to be used for charitable purposes, then and a portion of this gift annuity is devoted for charitable purposes, it's a nice balance. And I think it makes it possible for people to do some wonderful things while also, taking care of themselves first. One other thing I've mentioned, some people will say, well, if I do this annuity, I can never get the money back. Well, I've heard this one person told me, yeah, that's true. A woman who had done one of these annuities, but she said, the bad news is I can't get the money back. The good news is nobody else can get it either. And so she wants to make sure that her money ultimately goes for charitable purposes and the assets are not consumed in other ways. So there's a lot of tax and financial good benefits for people with this plan.
And again, that's all part of an estate plan that we say is so important. At the ADA, we do have some minimums. You had mentioned them before, $10,000 for your first annuity to set up an annuitant. We ask that you be 65 years old. If you are younger than that, you can do a deferred annuity, but it's by person, so we do offer those personal illustrations. What are the best assets to use for a charitable gift annuity?
Well, I would say, in my experience, the vast majority of them are funded with cash that usually is either in a non-interest checking account or in vehicles that are producing 1% or less for people. And they're looking for, now this is, annuities are not an investment, and you should not compare them to commercial investments or CDs or whatever. But if you're looking to maximize income and make a gift, that can be a low yielding cash and other assets. One other point, another tax benefit I did not mention, people will often fund these with stocks and other investments, sometimes real estate, that has appreciated in value, that would generate a capital gain if they sold it. If you've got property that you're going to lose, 10, 15, 20% or more in some states like California, if you have $100,000 and you end up selling and having 80,000 after you pay the capital gains tax, let's say, then you have less to invest in other ways. Whereas with the gift annuity, because there's no sale at the time you fund the annuity, your annuity payment is based on the full value of the property, and there's no capital gains tax due at the time you do it. Now, over time, a portion of your payments will be reported as capital gains, but that's not bad, because that's generally lower than what you're paying on ordinary, sometimes nothing. So again, that's something that you really need to explore with advisors who can look at your tax situation and help you choose the right asset.
All right, we are 1 minute over, but we just wanted to remind everyone this is the start of the conversation. Thank you, Robert, for everything that you do for our philanthropic community. We so appreciate you taking the time to be here today. If there are more questions, please feel free to go to our website or contact me at giving@diabetes.org. Robert, any closing thoughts from you?
No, just it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope that some of what we covered today might be useful to people on this session. And I reiterate that if there's any questions people have about anything I've said, if you'll shoot those to Sue, then we'll work together and make sure that you get an answer in a timely way.
Well, thank you again, Robert. Thank you, Dana, who's our behind-the-scenes hostess. And don't forget that the most important information on our website is about helping people with diabetes thrive. Whether you're newly diagnosed or you're living with the disease for a long time, we offer health, education, nutrition, one of my favorite parts. And we're not done with COVID yet, so look at our website for updates on that. Wear your mask, get vaccinated, and until next time, stay well.